I'm Jenna Bosiger, and thank you for watching my Cryptic Cryptids YouTube channel. On this episode, I decided to look into why the ghost town Baker in the Mojave Desert has a UFO gift shop and has UFO sculptures and alien sculptures. I figured there must be a reason, and so I looked into it, and I found out that as an object from space did crash into Baker long ago, and it left behind the dried lake bed of Silver Lake and also Soda Lake and Zzyxz mineral springs, which covers a huge several miles area. It's very spread out, and it's not a deep hole or anything, but they're dried lake beds, shallow lake beds. And not only that, but all around the area is precious minerals and gems and metals. And in the center of Silver Lake, I don't know if there's meteors there or if just the remains of the meteor crash that they can detect, but it says specifically in the form of an H6 chondrite meteorite and an L4 chondrite meteorite. Because this strike from outer space had something probably to do with the lakes that were here, and maybe the water that was deposited and created these lakes, I'm thinking it makes sense that it could have been a comet that crashed here, and a comet is scientifically described as a dirty snowball. And the snow being frozen water, and the dirt could be anything. It could be metals, even asteroids. They could be made up of diamonds or gold or any kind of combination of precious metals. I was trying to imagine what it would have been like to have seen that or been there when it happened. And likely you would have seen it around a month or so ahead of time as a blue light. And as it got closer, it might get as bright as a sun. But then eventually it would be like a dark object that would maybe block out the sun and create this huge dark shadow over a large area. And then as it entered the atmosphere, logically, the snowball would melt and the dirt would turn to mud. And just clumps would be falling apart and falling off over a very widespread area, gaining heat. The water would start boiling, steaming, and some of it may still remain frozen when it does finally hit the ground. But because there isn't a big hole, it makes me think that it started kind of dissipating as it was just coming down, melting apart, and spreading out, dropping all kinds of precious metals. And that's why in the area there's all kinds of mines, abandoned mines from gems and metals, and there's lava tubes and signs that there were water, huge area of water there that has since dried up. And it makes me wonder, is this how water gets deposited on Earth? And is it just natural for it to dry up? It seems likely that these things are all related. Not to mention the sound. Can you imagine the sound? It would be like a whistling and then a howling. It would be so loud, that sound alone could probably kill you. What would have happened to the large mammals, the dinosaurs that were there in the vicinity of the crash? Would they have crumbled? What would have happened to their bones? Would they have turned into the cryptobiotic soil that is in the area, that is made up of microscopic fossilized bones? But since it was a long time ago, I read that if it's microscopic today, that means it was probably the big stuff that still stayed together from the bigger mammals. I made a video about biogenous ooze and silicious ooze. I like to say salacious ooze, but it's silicious and biogenic ooze made up of the sediments of once living organisms. I got to two mines to look for turquoise, and then I also started looking up how turquoise is formed. Turquoise fossils. So I was trying to look up how turquoise fossils were formed, and I was not able to find that information, but I found images. Maybe they were there when something catastrophic happened. The process for making turquoise, in Wikipedia says, forms when meteoric water, rain or snow melt infiltrating the Earth's surface, percolates through copper and dissolved oxygen, and water oxidizes in copper sulfates, acid, reactions with aluminum, potassium minerals, precipitate, and then they dry up. That's how turquoise is formed. I couldn't find anywhere that turquoise is formed from meteor or comet strikes, but it seems like it could be. And it is cryptocrystalline in structure, which means that if you look at it under a microscope, you won't see any structure. There's carbonate oozes and calcium carbonate, mineral calcite. There's silicious oozes composed of opal, amorphic, hydrated silica that forms the skeleton of various microorganisms, including diatoms, radiotoms, silicious sponges. So it's a pretty fascinating area that I want to get back to. I loved it there, and I just didn't have enough time to spend there. But I want to go back. I want to investigate the whole area. Baker's also the gateway to Death Valley, because that's where the 127 entrance is, also known as Death Valley Road, that takes you up to Death Valley. One way to get there. And you'll drive by the dried lake bed that is Silver Lake, which is where this meteor hit, because it's an asteroid in space, and a meteor, when it hits Earth, comets, I think they're under-recognized. Basically, they're just like asteroids, except they have more stuff in them and water. Lots of water. That was my trip to Baker and what I learned about Baker. And I love Baker, and they're building a UFO hotel there in the shape of a UFO. And I saw it. It's under construction. It's in the process of being built. And they also have an amazing Greek restaurant there out in the middle of nowhere. It's so good. And so if you are on your way between Vegas and Los Angeles, you definitely should stop there. One of the things I love to do when I'm taking pictures is to zoom in on things that are off in the distance so that I can look at them later and see what they are. And a lot of times I'll zoom into mountaintops or the peaks of hills if I see something sticking out, and I'll take pictures. And that's what I did here. One of the strangest things, this mountain peak, it has this stone structure on top. Then I saw this huge Joshua tree, and it must be so old, so I decided to give it some water. And on my next trip that I'm already planning, I want to go to the Calico Mountains, the mining district, and also to the early man site. I got these pictures of the area, and the colors look so amazing, and I really can't wait to get back out there to investigate. Let's take a look at those rocks. I can't tell if they are crispy chrysocolla or turquoise. There are some tests that I can do, that I can try. I got this one that's got azurite on it. I believe it's azurite. The other good one I got has this little blue thing on it, which could be azurite. I'm not sure. And some of these rocks are just compiled of, honestly, it looks like big pieces of teeth and bones and fangs. And on this piece of possible turquoise, you can see it looks a lot like some fossil-like material. It makes me wonder how this was formed. This almost even looks like the turquoise color looked like it could be teeth or something. Who knows? But another really weird piece that I got is this very lightweight piece of blue stuff, but I don't know. What is it? And then just some other little pieces that have that color on them. But there's also this strange piece, because look, it's made of stone. And then I got a couple heart rocks to add to my rock heart collection. Thank you for watching this episode on my Cryptid Cryptids YouTube channel. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, bye!